Hey, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute. I have a wonderful, wonderful comedian with me, Ellen Doyle. Ellen, how are you?
You know what? I'm amazing. Thanks for asking.
Oh my gosh, you're not kidding. Just to have you here, I'm so grateful. Thank you very much for taking the time to be
Of
here.
course.
Well, now let's start. Are you in Pennsylvania?
I'm in New York State, but I'm like right across the border. So
Okay.
it's easier to say I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay, no, because on your Facebook page it said about Los Angeles. I wasn't sure if did you spend some time in Los Angeles?
I was in Los Angeles for almost 9 years.
Okay.
So that's where I started stand up. I work in production. I do reality TV as my day job. So I was working in production and I had performed my whole life. I went to school for choreography, not trying to brag, didn't become a stripper. But yeah, that was everybody. You know what's crazy is that was everybody's joke when I was going to school for dance. Like I danced all my life and then I went to college for it, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're gonna become a stripper." That's the easy punchline. And then in like 2015 or something, there was like a big, now it's naked, but at the time it was like underwear shows were like really big. And
Okay.
I was like, wow, comedy is when I actually started taking my clothes off. It was never dance. It was it's never dance that did it. It was this. You'll do
Let me
anything
let
for
me
stage
stop you for a
time.
second because I think that where you studied dance was close to where I live here.
Oh, really? In the Lehigh Valley?
Well, I'm in York, Pennsylvania, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, no, but I
Yeah.
saw that.
Yeah, no, I was down in Allentown. All
Yeah,
girls school, all girls all the time. It was great.
okay.
But yeah,
Well,
then I
now,
moved to LA and I was working in productions and I hadn't performed as a dancer for about 2 years and I kind of got the itch and I was like, maybe I should do stand up. And I actually like I told my mom, I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna try this. And she reminded me how obsessed I was as a kid with it. Like that's what
okay.
I told my kindergarten teacher I wanted to be. How obnoxious is that? I wanted to be a comedian. They just
Oh,
didn't teach me
really?
how to read.
Can we
Yeah,
just
they
go
were
back a second and maybe I missed it. Were you born and raised in New York area
in Pennsylvania.
in Pennsylvania,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you went to Los Angeles for 9 years?
Yeah.
Excuse
I
me.
was there working in productions. I started comedy there, which is a crazy place to start. I don't recommend it. It's like
Right.
everybody in the audience is a producer. So you're like, wait, don't watch this. I'm still learning. But it was a lot of fun. I think you get uh better faster just because you're around so many people that are working. And but yeah, I came back here. I was going to record a special in April of 2020. Uh, and I came back here at
Or
the beginning.
before the end of the world.
Yeah, we did not prepare for that. And I came
Right.
back in December of 2019 to work the hour out for a couple months, and then the world shut down. And then I ended up staying. I kind of miss the East Coast. I'm an East Coaster at heart. I'm like kind of sarcastic and mean, you know?
Yeah. Well, I guess let's go back to your first gig in LA. What was that like?
So I took a class, and so my first gig had a graduation showcase at Flappers, which is a comedy club in Burbank.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. It was definitely compared to most other people's first gigs, like it was a club. It was sold out.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun. And then I worked that club for a couple more
Were
years doing
you were
other shows.
you excuse me, were you really nervous?
I feel like the dancer in me, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it didn't bother me. I often think that's the one part of comedy that hasn't freaked me out because like if I could stand on stage in a tutu and tights and
Right, right.
romp around, it's like I could tell a dick joke or two.
Yeah, well, the first time I got up on stage, I got up and sang the Black Crowes, Jealous Again, and it was a rough crowd,
Yeah.
and of course and I can remember I was scared as shit.
Yeah. Well,
But
karaoke is not my thing. That does freak me out because I'm
no,
not
this
a
wasn't
singer.
karaoke, it was a band. I went up and
Okay.
sang with the band. Thank God I'm friends with the guys in the band. No, I
Yeah.
did pretty damn good. Stop laughing. Don't
No,
you
that's
think I
impressive. I'm
would?
not in a band.
Don't you think I would? Don't you think I'd tell you, baby, if I only could? Yeah. Yeah, I did a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a little. I love the Black Crows. They're back out with the new album. But anyway, so obviously 9 years ago you did it, and what I hear from a lot of people that right after the first time they do it, the feeling is I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah,
Was that it for you?
definitely. It really
Okay.
felt like, uh, and that's kind of what I was saying before, like telling my mom, like, I think I'm going to do this. She was like, you told your kindergarten teacher you wanted to do this. Like, you had to write a report in third grade on a
Yeah.
female that you were inspired by, and you wrote it on Lucille Ball. It's like, you've
Okay.
always been, I grew up watching stand up. I was quoting so many people's uh specials,
Yeah.
as a 12-year-old, as an 8-year-old, even probably some
Yeah.
stuff I shouldn't have been saying.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, it just felt like you know, I I loved being a dancer, but there's an expiration date on that, like an
Sure.
athlete, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like your body can't handle it after a while. Plus I wanted to get fat and just start eating. But the yeah, I was like,
I
I'm
had a
sick
girl
of this.
recently say, "Oh, those pictures was back when I had a tapeworm."
Oh, you probably looked amazing.
Yeah, yeah. She said that was a lot thinner. I had a tapeworm back then.
I was like, oh my gosh, Scott, you look so good. You're like, I was in the hospital. It's like, you look amazing. You should do it again. Yeah, but I definitely like missed performing and to find like another outlet. And even when I was a dancer, I was always the one like making jokes in rehearsals.
Right.
And so it kind of like wanting to do comedy again for sure. I just wanted to perform again. Like it was just nice to perform again, having performed for,
Right.
25 years as a
Yeah.
dancer, and I acted and did improv a
Right.
little bit. And so this was fun, but it's also different because it's like it's you, and it
Yeah.
becomes uh I think that's kind of what's the high of it, is that it's like I succeed as me and I fail as me.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the rush of being like, when I fail, it's like that was all Ellen's fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't be like, oh, the other dancers missed their mark, or oh, my improv partner wasn't being funny. It's like, no, no, that was you.
Okay.
And that, I think, is kind of the cool rush of it, is that it's all you,
Well,
you know.
and I don't want to bounce around, but when you mentioned Lucille Ball, I had Tom Padovano on here Saturday. I think I did one with him. And if you've never heard of him, I called him a comedy legend, and he's like, "Why are you calling me No one's ever called me." I said, "You sold jokes to Phyllis Diller.
Yeah,
You sold jokes to Joan Rivers. You sold
yeah,
jokes to Rodney Dangerfield." Now, to a lot of younger kids, are who in the hell, who are they?
yeah. But no, that's
But
impressive. I know who they
no,
are.
I mean, and he sold jokes to him, which I didn't know
Yeah,
that you could even do that.
yeah.
But he said, he told me, I'll just real quick tell you this. He met Joan Rivers, and I said, how was that? And he said, she came up to me and she said, "What the hell are you doing here? Why aren't you home writing me more jokes?" But I love the history of, and I'm like you. I mean, my father told jokes, and I just knew I love comedy. I love jokes. I got fired from my job for telling jokes. That's how
Yes,
that's how
that's
your
a
comedy
win.
minute.
Yeah.
That's how your comedy minute started.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Can't beat that.
No.
You got good material when HR calls you in.
Yeah.
Scotty, that was really good. You're fired. I felt like Donald
Yeah.
Trump. Donald Trump was behind the desk. But let's talk about, because let's move forward now, because you have a big special you're recording a couple years in the making, obviously.
Yeah.
May 23rd in New York.
Yes.
Do you want to tell the people about that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just posted the ticket link today. So yes, we've been trying to get back on track with this. We were supposed to do it in 2020. I was under a
Right.
different label. Now we're self-producing it.
Okay.
And because I work in production, like a lot of my production friends are a part of it. And so it's actually really cool to work on a project the whole way, that it's like I know the camera operators, I know the producers, like which feels really cool. Like we're all kind of finally working on a project that we are, pumped about and believe in, which is great.
Yeah.
It is interesting because like it has evolved. Like there's definitely jokes that would have been in it in 2020 that are still in it, but there are
Oh, jokes.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's interesting how like just my stuff is very autobiographical. So the things that have happened to me in the last four
Right.
years, like some of that stuff is getting added in, and you know, some of the jokes I had have different tags and punchlines to it because more stuff has happened in that
Right.
topic. And so it's very exciting. You know, obviously it's like terrifying. I keep telling people, I'm like, it's either me telling jokes or it's me crying for an hour. But either way, we have tape on it, and that's all that matters. You know, because it's a little scary, but it's exciting, and I feel like it's just something that we've been trying to do for a while, and to get it up and moving is very gratifying, at least just to say that we did
Yeah,
it, like that we've done it.
congratulations. That's a
Thank
huge,
you.
huge milestone.
Thank
And
you.
I saw on Facebook, I don't know if I'm right or not, Dan Danzy is going to open up.
Dan Danzy will be opening. He's a comic. He's now in Pennsylvania. He's from Texas, like all over Texas. Super
Okay.
funny guy. Like been in the business like almost 20 years, like total vet with it, a riot.
Okay.
And I was elated to have him
Great.
that he
Great.
was available. Yeah, so it's
That's
gonna be a great
wonderful.
show.
Yeah. And have you played that room before?
I have. So I
Okay.
originally went there to check out the space with a camera operator friend of mine. He was like, I feel like this is where we should record your special. And this was about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And we had checked out the location. I was like, I like it. Like it's funky, it's intimate, it's got this like cool New York City vibe, but it still has like the brick wall that like it could have that just classic club look.
Right.
Um, and then before we started doing the special, I was doing a monthly show there called Tragedy Seminar. Um, and that was fun. So we were just doing a show that is on hiatus at the moment. But when I got that opportunity, I was like, I want to be able to give New York City comics or features, really, features or headliners that are touring. I gave everybody like 15 to 20 minutes, which you do not get in New York. But I was
Right.
like, if I'm going to do a New York show, I don't want to do this rapid fire showcase. Everyone gets 5 minutes and it's like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So they were really fun. So I have performed on that stage. Um, you know, several times as we were doing that show. And then we have since taken a break. And then now we're focusing on the special. But I love that room. It's very New York, and it's very unique, and it really does feel very Ellen Doyle, which was cool to
We,
find, you know.
I did a YouTube search, because I like to try and get as much info as I can. And I did a YouTube search and I saw a video of you on the Gotham. Was it Gotham? Yeah. And no,
Yeah.
no. I mean, you laugh, but to me, it was like instant respect because if you're on that stage, you must be pretty good.
That was a fun show that I haven't done
Yeah, it was
Gotham
just a small little clip. It was only a
yeah.
minute or so clip, but
Yeah, I haven't done Gotham in a little bit. That was while I was so it was kind of like 2017 to like the beginning of 2020. I was
right.
just traveling the country. So
Okay.
I'd come home, I'd go see my like, you know, I grew up a couple hours outside of New York City, so I'd go see my friends in New York, I'd hit places there, I'd book some stuff, and then I'd go back on the road and I'd head back to Los Angeles and hit places all along the way. Like it was fun, like it to look back on it in like, you know, rose tinted glasses. Like I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
I was having a nervous breakdown. But it gave me street cred.
yeah,
But I was like, no, I was kind of just like by myself, crashing in my Kia Sorento places. Like it was just bananas, but I didn't want to. I actually had gone through a breakup. And so I left the house, and I was kind of at that point of like, do I want to stay in LA, or do I want to see what else is out there? And that, I guess, is kind of my point of like starting in LA or starting in New York. I think that it's great. You will get fast, or you will get good fast, but you won't have the time. And that's what the middle of the country kind of helps you get, is like people are like, hey, you're gonna do 15, hey, you're gonna do 20. Like you're not doing 20 in New York City ever, unless you are already a household name, you know,
yeah.
or you're passed at the Comedy Cellar.
Okay.
Uh, and so it really helped to kind of realize that by the time the special first became an opportunity in 2019, that I was like, no, I do have this hour, and I have worked an hour, and I have done these like rough and tumble bar shows, and like
Yeah.
working this hour out, and realizing that I'm talking to everybody. And I think like I can't encourage comics enough that are in the cities to find ways to get out, and those that are not in the cities to find ways to get in, because there's benefits to both sides. But definitely leaving Los Angeles the first time, like I was like, well, some of the stuff I'm doing, isn't talking to this crowd. And so then it's like change it so that we can do the same topic. And that I'm talking to blue and red states, and I'm talking to, baby boomers, and I'm talking to Gen Z, like, and just figuring that out so that it's like the crowd doesn't feel isolated where I'm just having a conversation with one niche audience. I like being able to get everybody on board. So the traveling around the United States has been ragingly beneficial.
Yeah, whenever I hear that, I worked in the music business most of my life before I, got fired from my job at Lowe's for telling jokes. And I remember the first time I went to North Carolina. Now, again, picture I'm from, York, Philadelphia. I'm used to
Yeah.
swearing at people, and imagine I'm selling Tony Braxton or something. And, the guy in Philadelphia be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You need more than 90. You need 180. This is a hit record.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I called the guy. First, it was Richmond. And he's like, well, I'm just going to take 30 or something. 30? What the hell's wrong with you? He slammed the phone down on me. My boss came down the hall. I said, what did you say to him? He says, Scotty, you can't talk to people like that. And then when I went to North Carolina, that was the first I ever heard the word fixing. Hey, buddy, ain't nobody fixing to do nothing quick around here. And then they started calling me a Yankee.
Yeah.
Where are you from, boy? Well, I'm from York, Pennsylvania. Well, use your goddamn Yankee. And it was like, I thought, well, shit, the Civil War ended a long time ago, you
I
asshole.
know.
Jesus God. But,
Yeah.
it really is, like, for instance, coming from York, Pennsylvania, well, hell, I didn't realize in Richmond, Virginia, you better talk real nice and don't swear. And,
I know, because we feel so close to them. Like it's not that far. I could drive to Richmond from York, like,
yeah,
and back in a day if I really had to. Like it's not
sure.
that much, but yeah, it is a different culture.
Well, and then you get North Carolina, South Carolina, and like you said, it's just different.
Yeah, it continues to change. And I think that's what's kind of fun to figure out like, how can I say this same messed up joke, but that you would be on board, being maybe a little bit more religious, or that you would be on board being a little bit more, on the left. Like, you got to figure that stuff out.
I'm
And
laughing because I'm trying to figure out how you can do some of my jokes in a religious set.
just with a smile on your face.
I had a guy last night, I did one. He said that he played like this nursing home and he does really dark material and he never changes his material. And I thought, oh my God, bud. And it didn't go well. Some
No.
old lady got up and was shooting the finger. Fuck you, get off the stage, you rat prick.
Oh my God. That you got the church people to give you the finger.
Yeah, no, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. I thought, damn, you really did set her off and she's
Yeah.
giving you the finger. But
Yeah.
I want to just go back a little bit because you started with it, and I'm a big fan. I shouldn't say of all reality TV, but I'm a fan of reality TV. And I wrote down you have a sound mixer for TV production.
Hmm.
That also hit a nerve with me because I actually, when I got out of high school, again, I went in the music business, but I went to a school to learn how to run a mixer board,
Yeah.
and that's pretty intricate work there.
It is like, yeah, it's kind of nerdy. And it's weird because it's definitely a job that I didn't realize existed until I got the job. Like I started as a production assistant and
Right,
then I just asked questions.
right.
And I thought the mixers were cool. I thought that job was interesting. I read the manual of the mixer we were
Really?
using. Yeah, so that I wasn't just being like, what's that button do? What's that button
Yeah,
do?
right.
And they were very cool. And you know, a lot of people just started letting me shadow them, and you know, became a mixer. Like that's, part of why I moved to LA. And then yeah,
Yeah,
here we
I
are.
I
Like
I not to toot my own horn, but I learned on the same mixing board that Styx made their Pieces of Eight album on.
that's pretty crazy.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole lot of people that are gonna go Styx, who the hell,
Yeah.
I'm 61 years old. I don't give a shit. I tell
Same.
people,
No, I hear you.
but it's neat how, and for me, that sound, I was a big music guy, and I still am, but not that there's a lot of crap out there today. There's very little good music, in my opinion. But just being able to push the levels and set it, and I guess with TV, it's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, you're capturing the dialogue more than, it's not like you're like, oh, this person's not going to be as loud in the conversation. It's like, where you're like, let's boost up the guitar in this section. You're not
Yeah,
mixing
right,
that way, but the concept is still the same. I mean, and it's a little bit, it's a little bit trickier because I do it in the field. So it's like we're mostly paying attention to like if you can hear external issues, where it's like
yeah,
there's an airplane, there's an ambulance. Like if you don't see it on camera, I shouldn't hear it.
right.
And like stopping for that, where it's
Can
like
you
at least a
can you
recording
talk about
studio.
can you name some of the shows that you've done or that I would know?
Sure. I mean, I've worked on a lot of Bravo stuff. I've done like Real
Okay.
Housewives shows. I've done Top
Oh
Chef.
wow.
I
I
started as
apologize. I don't
a
know any of
model.
this because it's not an, how would I know it? I don't know anything about you.
Yes.
We've never met.
We've never met. No, we're
Yeah,
just having
so I
a
mean,
great
I
stranger
apologize if I'm
conversation.
asking the wrong questions. I'm very intrigued by that.
No, I mean, it's been a very interesting way to make money. It's freelance, so it's a little
Okay.
crazy. I think it does help in comedy because it's the same type of hustle of getting
Right.
gigs, um, and the days are long. I always love all the crew that like some of
Okay.
my best friends, I've met doing that. The content, I'm not super into reality TV,
No,
but I think because I'm
when
so
I say
close
that,
to it.
I love Survivor. I call it a train wreck, like Big Brother or something. I love a big
Yeah.
train wreck. I love a good train wreck.
Yeah, I work on a lot of the train wrecks.
I just love them.
Yeah, but it's been great. I mean, and to even to now do the special because I was supposed to be working under a label and it's like the contract expired, yada yada, whatever. 2020, like the world,
Well,
it was
you
not
know
ready
what?
to
You
do
said a
that.
mouthful there when you talk about record labels.
Yeah, yeah, but
I had a guy tell me one time because I worked for RCA Records, and he made a comment something to the extent of you'd be safer in Central Park at night than being in a room full of record weasels like you. Yeah,
it's
he
true.
wasn't
It's
shitting.
true.
Yeah, record labels are screwed up.
It's a weird yeah, like it's weird how many different layers there are to being like, oh, I want to record something and then I want to sell it and then I want to like it's like, well, you got to start connecting to people. So I'm still gonna have to deal with a label eventually, which is fine, but I know some good ones now that
Well, anything I can do
we'll
to
look
help,
into.
but it just, I think what happens, at least from my experience, that a lot of people don't realize, like the record company will say, okay, well, we're going to go up and do a photo shoot, but they don't realize that they're paying and they're keeping a tab, and
Yeah,
you paid for that. Like in other words, it wasn't until I met some country musicians that I sleep in my Winnebago or I sleep. They aren't letting the record company run up that tab,
yeah,
or they recorded their own record because the label was going to charge them $300,000 to go in the studio.
yeah.
Well, hell, you're already $300,000 in the hole before you even sold one record.
No, exactly. Well, and I think that, stand-up's doing that a lot too, where like you're seeing more people self-produce stuff. I would say that from a like a reality TV standpoint and a sound mixer, the
Right.
one thing I can't stress enough is it's like, do you have the proper way to record audio and is somebody listening to it? Because that is what you're going to screw yourself in post because most people never think about the sound mixer. But as a sound mixer, that was my immediate thing when I was with the label and they were kind of being like, oh, like, he's like the best. Like, and it's just like, okay, that's great. But like, I really would like to hear stuff because I have the ear for it and I want to make sure that this is going to sound to my standard.
Well, and
Um,
your name's on the marquee. It's your name.
yeah, right. Well, I mean, and if you're putting all the money into something, you want to make sure that you're coming out with a product that you're going to be happy with. So the
Right.
self-producing is nice to do a little bit more of the control of like, these are my cameras. This is how we're going to shoot it. This is the venue we want to do it in. And I think that, you're seeing more comics do it and it's kind of awesome. Like, you don't have to
Yeah.
uh go through the other channels, especially at the beginning. It is expensive to self-produce it yourself, but you're at least controlling and aware of like all the different parts to it,
Right.
uh, which I think feels better. I guess I think for me, it's just, it feels better for me because I work behind the scenes. And so
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking
All
about. And
all
I
that all that's
need a
helping me
producer
out.
to be like, trying to be like, oh, this is how it is. It's like, I even know what producers are like. I know that you're bullshitting me right now.
Right, right,
And
right.
you're just trying to make a dime off me. So it's, yeah, it's the working in television, as goofy of a way as it is that I've been making money, has been
Oh
extremely
no, it's yeah.
beneficial for the comedy stuff, like because I
And
know what things are supposed to sound like.
pardon
I
my
know what
ignorance,
things are
Ellen,
supposed to
but
look like.
then once this is done, and we used to use the music business, it's in the can.
Yeah.
Once it's all done and it's in the can, is the thought then to go to Hulu, Netflix, wherever and try and shop it? Is that
Yes.
the plan?
Yeah.
Great, great.
Yeah. I think like Mark Norman, I think really gave a lot of people,
Excuse me.
that he blew up on YouTube.
Yeah,
And I think that because he shopped it to Netflix and they were like, no. And then it was like, fine. And then he got his following, and then Netflix was like, okay, now we want it.
right,
So I'm definitely gonna, like, I think that's an inspiring story where it's like, shop it first. If people don't want it, you can always do it somewhere else
right.
and then just blast it out. You're seeing comics do that, and then you end up with the Netflix special later. Like, and
Well,
it's just interesting to take away a lot of the gatekeeping where it's not like, oh, hey, I have a special, I self-produced it. Like, we used the industry standard cameras and the specs and everything. And then for them to be like, oh, we just don't like it. It's like, fine. That
well,
doesn't mean,
I want
oh, I
to
can't. Like, it's
I
like
want to
you
mention
can.
Zach Hammond because I did one of these with Zach, and I said I'm
Yeah.
trying to find more female comedians, and he did not hesitate for a second to mention you.
Zach
No,
and I have
because
actually
and I
spent
can
a lot of time
tell.
on the road together.
Well, but you are top shelf. I mean, and I'm not
Oh,
putting
thank
hot
you.
air up your ass. You are top shelf, and I
Thank
think
you.
you'll succeed regardless of who picks it up.
Thank you. I hope so.
Let
I
me
think.
ask you a couple questions real quick because we got to move on. We got to get to the end. Um, my question was now my mind. That's all the weed and stuff I smoke. Um,
We've all been there, Scott.
no, no, and I'm getting old. I drink too much. I party. No, I guess the question was, um, do you once this is done and hopefully, oh, I know, and now come back to me. You mentioned social media and stuff. And I see, I've been doing this long enough now to see there's the people that do the TikTok and the Instagram and that kind of crap. Please note crap versus stand-up comedians that actually stand up there and tell jokes and do you know do you have a social media presence? In other words, because I want to include YouTube links or anything you have as well.
Yeah, I actually and I was like, so I'm like getting better at it.
And
Because
it's like two different things.
it kind of is.
It
Yeah,
really
it
is. It
kind of
really
is.
is.
And I think that like you saw a lot of these like TikTok stars like rise, especially during COVID, because they were like used to
Yeah.
using it, and comics are like, not wanting, unlike music where like people are like, play Freebird. It's like no one's like, do the joke I saw on Instagram. Like it's like, well, I don't want to like, so then that's why people are doing the crowd work stuff. But I think it's just fun, you know, to do the talking head stuff because it's like who I am, like this is who I am on stage. Like I don't play a character or anything. So but my socials, Ellen Doyle on Facebook. I'm at This Broken Adult on Instagram.
Okay.
My YouTube channel is Ellen Doyle Comedy. Follow me everywhere.
Yeah, I'll include all the links. I wasn't able to, find them, but I will include them because I like to have a batch of stuff. I want to bring up your dog, uh, Ghost Dog.
Those.
Ghost Dog just went through an operation. I hope
She
Ghost Dog
did.
is okay.
She's doing better. She gets her stitches out tomorrow. She had like a
Okay.
growth on her. She saw my engagement ring and just got it
Yeah, no,
shipped.
and then I saw
She's a
that.
woman.
Yeah, and then I saw Mom today when you were pitching the
Yeah.
links. That was funny.
My
Mom's
mother
great.
is a riot. I mean, my whole family is actually very
I
funny. I
could
have
tell.
three
I could tell.
siblings. My grandmother, was hilarious. Like, I mean, we're Irish Catholic. We're raised in like my parents got divorced, but they're like friends with each other. Like
Yeah.
they live with each other now, actually. That's a lot of the material I do because it's just like, what
Yeah.
is love? You know, like you ruined my life at 8, and then now you guys are like, no, we're
Now
good. I'm like, are you? Because pay for my therapy bills. But yeah, like my older brother always likes to say that Ellen doesn't do stand up, she just reports the news because it's all about my family. Like they're just great
yeah.
inspiration. My mother, is was hilarious. I was like, I want to use you to promote this, and could see it on my Facebook, and it's just a mashup of
Yeah.
all the ways that she's not ready, or she's like fumbling her words, or she's
Right.
saying, we
Well,
weird things, be like, "Get it at your local link." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
yeah.
Um,
No,
but I
but
love to use them, and for a while, like, when I started doing stand-up, my family was like, "Well, don't talk about this or don't talk about that," and I'm like, "You guys
now,
are funny. Like,
yeah.
you're so funny."
Yeah.
And I think it makes sense when you meet me or if you see my stand-up and kinda like the environment that I grew
Yeah.
up in, like, you're like, "Oh, yeah, this is
Well,
why that girl is like that."
I think a lot of comedy comes from, uh, well, part of it is comes from a dark place, like you said about, your childhood or stuff, and I
Yeah.
know for me, I think back to shit my dad said and my mom said, or that dynamic, or my sister and my brother, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's a comedy, a plethora of comedy there, at least in
absolutely.
my family.
No, I mean, like any writer, write about what you know, and you know your family, and even if
My dad was tougher than a $2 steak. I'm not shitting you.
yeah, but you get material from
I don't
even the
even think you
bad
can get a steak for
experiences.
$2 these days.
Yeah. 275, yeah. In
Yeah,
this economy, $2 steak, I'd still take it if it's even if
yeah,
it's tough.
okay. Well,
Mm.
look, we're going to run out of time here, and I want to first make sure we cover everything. We got the special coming up. You want to name some dates and stuff you have coming up, or
If
what
you go
else you
to
want? I want to make sure that you get everything in, and then we're
Sure.
going to try and get your comedy minute from you.
Okay, sure. I mean, if you go to my website, ellendoylecomedy.com, all my
Okay.
dates are up there right now. The special obviously is our big, exciting news, 23rd of
Yeah.
May to Revision Lounge and
Yeah.
23rd of May, Revision Lounge in New
Okay.
York City. Two shows, 7 p.m. and 9:30. Those tickets are up right now.
Okay.
So check the link. They're on my socials. Would love to see you there. Would love to immortalize your laughter, uh, or your gasps or your cries, whatever your reaction is to what I'm doing. But you'd be on the tape,
You're
which is
right.
cool
Yeah.
too. But yeah, my website will have all the dates I have right now.
Okay.
Um, and then you can check out my YouTube, see some of the other clips that I've put up, and
Okay.
follow me on Instagram, of course.
Yeah, I
I'm
definitely will do that.
active there.
I will definitely, try and share some and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize because I didn't, and again, I hesitate to say it, but it's like for me, I kind of went at it because I kind of started with the COVID and everything where mine was all social media,
Yeah.
to bust my butt at YouTube to get to 5 million views and
Yeah.
11,000 subscribers, and then Instagram and stuff. So, that I always feel like if I can help in any way, I will.
I appreciate
Getting
that.
your links up on your Facebook page and getting your links out there, because that's so important. People
Yeah.
need to know that you have a YouTube channel, and because that'll help fill not only this special but other rooms, and get your name out there.
No, definitely. I mean, it's definitely a part of the game, and I think that a lot of comics get like butt hurt when you see that these
Oh
TikTok
yeah,
stars can have clubs, but it's like because they're like, well, they're not doing stand up. It's like, yeah, but they could fill the space. You know what I mean? It's like so
yeah.
we should all be doing. I mean, and stand ups. You don't have to always post your stand up clips. It's like you should just be funny. You should be entertaining. So just be yourself
I don't
and
mean to
get
laugh,
following
but
that way.
I had a guy say to me the other day, I said, your link doesn't work on this or that. And he said, well, I put up a phone link. That's why it's not working. You stupid asshole. Link is a link. Whether you click
Yeah.
on your phone or your computer, it should work. But he actually said, oh, it's the phone link. I put the phone link up there.
What does that even mean?
Okay, Bob. All right. Let's move back from the microwave when you're cooking a little bit there.
Yeah, right.
You got a little
Exactly.
something
Exactly.
going on there. I don't know if I can help you.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Well,
FOMO.
if we've covered everything, you know what time it is.
Let's do it.
Your comedy minute, whatever it is.
So I wanted to tell a story about my grandmother.
Go ahead.
She was 102 when she passed away. She was a riot. She was
Okay.
born in 1919, and she was one of seven kids. She was the fifth, and then she had two twin brothers when she was 12. And she
Okay.
was a great storyteller, and she always told me this story when I was a kid about how when her brother was 8, his best friend stole a watch from him. And she was like, I went up to this kid, I gave him the hook. This is what she did. Which I'm like, though you punched a kid like this, they'll break your knuckle. Like you're out of your mind. And she's like, no, because he stole my brother's watch. And so I clocked him in the face in order to get it back from him. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. And then I did the math. Like she told me that story when I was 8. And I remember being like, I got a younger brother. I would do that. I would protect my younger brother. But then doing the math as I got older, I was like, wait, if Uncle Mike was 8 and you're 12 years older than him, you were 20? She's like, yeah. I'm like, you were 20 years old and you punched an 8-year-old in the face? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, wow, the Depression was a scary time to be. That's assault, Grandma. You would be behind bars. You proudly told me that story. You're a 20-year-old woman like pulling some kid who you could easily beat up and knocking him in the face. Good for
Jesus
you.
God. Jesus God. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. It ranks right up there.
Yeah.
Well,
So she
Ellen,
was
I
my
thank you so much.
inspiration.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting the picture there, that family warmth.
Yeah.
Hey, well, listen, I thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott. This was
I
fun.
really, I can't thank you enough, and I wish you all the best, and we'll keep in touch.
Thank
Maybe
you.
we'll do another one after the special, and we'll help.
Oh, I'd love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang tight for a second if you can. I'm going to stop the recording. I just want to talk to you a little bit off the record. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you.